fans of YouTube, it is nice to see you all again and welcome to another one of my videos. I want to start this video with a big thank you to all of my friends, fans and family for pushing me past the 300 subscriber mark. It's an extremely humbling thing for me as a musician and content creator that 300 plus individuals now want to follow the content that I put out regularly and have subscribed to be able to support me. So from the bottom of my heart, genuinely thank you. I've done YouTube sort of on and off now, on a monthly basis as best I can for the last 6 years, and it's given me a really creative muse at some of the highlights of my life and some of the low points as well, and it's an incredibly cathartic thing for me to do. So again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Now, I want to try and push this channel further. I want to push it towards 1,000 subscribers now. You know what I mean? 300 is quite a nice milestone and all, but I really want to start to push content out and it get viewed regularly by a lot of people, and I really want to inform the world of things that I can do. In the spirit of doing that, the next 5 videos that I put out, this one included, will all be voted for by people who follow me on social media. I will leave links in the description to my socials. So what I'm going to do, every time that I put a review video out, I'm going to do a poll. And the poll will be which of the 5 guitars that I have you want to see me review. As I'm sure some people are aware, depending on where you are in the world, the UK has undergone a national lockdown again for the next 4 weeks. So that means that I want to try and help people through this, and I will push content out weekly as voted for by you. So if you want to help me with that, follow me on Instagram and the polls will be posted there. They will be posted to Facebook as well for people that don't want to follow me on Instagram, and let's see what we can put together. In the spirit of that, the very first poll that I put out was to review my Washburn again. If you haven't seen the rig rundown video, the reason that this is being reviewed again is because it's had some upgrades. So how that came about was I was jamming with my good friend Andrew Wordsworth of the band Blame the Sacred. If you don't check them out, I'll pop a link in the description. They are phenomenal musicians and Andy's a really good friend of mine. And I went to jam at his and we put this through a Orange Terror, which he has as a practice amp at home. And we found that when we started to really gun it through something with some valve power, the pickups didn't quite have the bite in them that I expected they did. Obviously it's a very easy thing to try and simulate in a bedroom environment with a modelling amp, but when you're pushing the sound through its own raw power through the tubes and the valves, you start to notice where things could be improved. And Andy said to me, he's like, these aren't strong enough. You need something grittier. Especially with me mainly being an active user, I needed something that had that harmonic richness as a passive guitar, but still had enough clarity that I could use it as backup. So with that in mind, I sent it off to mine and Andy's guitar tech Dave, and we upgraded it. He had a set of DiMarzios, so we now have a Path Pro in the neck and a DiMarzio X2N Super Distortion in the bridge. But I'll do a quick rundown of the specs of the base model guitar. If you want to see and hear how that sounded, there is a review on my channel of this guitar. I urge you to check that out if you want to know more about the guitar in its base format, as this is more to do with the upgrades of the pickups. So, the body of the guitar is mahogany, and it's contoured, and it's cut beautifully, and the guitar in itself is one of the most comfortable, if not the best flying V I've played. Don't get me wrong, that Gibson's phenomenal, and that will come through, I hope, in the review video when that is voted for. But this is still unequivocally the first one that I pick up. It looks badass, it feels great, and Washburn really did knock it out of the park with this guitar for a really good mod platform, or for someone that just wants to look badass. So, it's all black hardware, the tuning keys inline 6, the Washburn Zone. The neck is maple and the fretboard is Ovencol, which is a relative wood of rosewood, very similar properties. Mine's quite a dark strip, so it looks a bit more like ebony. It originally had a push-pull in the tone, however we swapped that out as well. That's now just a regular standard tone switch. My tech put a new CTS pot in the volume, and that is where the push-pull is now, and a 3-way switch. So as with any review I ever do, I will go through the tones now, and I'm going to start in clean, and my chain will be my Blackstar ID Core 20, which is the little 20 watt amp that was in the rig review, and I'm just going to have a little bit of reverb and delay in the sound just to create some sort of like ambient sound. And yeah, we'll see just how good these upgrades really are. There we are, guys, so I am back now on the clean channel of my Blackstar amp, and for anyone that wants to know how the chain runs, it's my amp, guitar going into it, and they're being recorded straight to my smartphone camera. So apologies for any compression that might come on the YouTube channel, and if there is any compromise to the audio, I am really sorry for that. That's just how YouTube works when it uploads. So we'll start with the neck, which is the PAF Pro by Damasio. I'm in drop C sharp tuning, so dropped half a semitone, and yeah, let's just see what we get from it. It's got a lot more attack to it than the Seymour Duncan did, which I really like, but it also has a lot more mid-push, and it really does just pick up every little semblance and like nuance of your playing. Anything that makes your playing unique, it will pick up on that, from like angling the pick and obviously trying to get softer attack to really gunning it out. So this is the lead comparison for the first position. And again, it's just lovely and warm, and I really like that. The Seymour Duncans were quite warm pickups because they are obviously passive pickups, and passive pickups tend to be a lot more warm and less saturated. And yeah, this is just great for getting those bluesy tones, very reminiscent of Joe Satriani style stuff. I do believe he uses a PAF Pro, but a modified version called the Mojo. Let me know in the comments if I'm right or wrong with that. So the next thing will be the pickup split. So here we go again. So it does lose some of the depth, which you would expect obviously with it switching from humbucking to single coil, but it's great and spanky. It's really bright in the treble end and obviously in the mids as well. Just for the lead style again. That's great for catching those stratty style tones, isn't it? You know what I mean? It cuts out enough of the humbucker just to really give it that spank, which I have to admit, coming from a guitar like this, in its shape, its appearance in general, it's a really weird thing to hear, but I like it. So next position is the two pickups split. So here we go. Some of the push now that comes from the X2N pickup. It is a really high gain, very hot pickup, I've had to dial out some of the gain in the amp to actually get this to sound a little bit cleaner, just because of how much power that pickup puts out. And just for the leads there. It's bright, it's creamy and twangy in the right places that it needs to be, but you do just have a little bit of the grunt that comes from the lower end, which gives it a little bit of a fuzz sort of in the mid position there. And then the next pickup then is the X2N, which is in the bridge on full humbucker. Here we go. There is grunt coming from that pickup. It is a really, really responsive, very hot wired pickup. But it is great, you know what I mean? It's got the lovely low end, nice and boomy in the low end, but it also has the richness in the highs so that you don't lose too much note clarity and note definition. So this is the same pickup again now, but with the coil split. And here we go. That has took some of the boom out of it and a little bit of the gain that comes from the pickup as well. It is a lot clearer when it's split. Again, nice and sort of bright in the high end, but enough resonance in the low end and enough note clarity. I was really, really surprised when I first heard these pickups because they are unbelievably responsive, and in a guitar like this they have just really given it, I feel, the only way I can put it is they've given it the balls that it needed to match its look. I know some of the higher end parallaxes came with actives or actual Seymour Duncan pickups, where as opposed to some like Duncan design stuff, but yeah, this is just a lot better. So what I'm going to do now, guys, I'm going to switch back to my distorted channel. Again, it will have delay and verb in the mix just to sort of create a sound that I use, and we'll see how it goes again through all of the pickups. There we are, guys, so I am back now on the distorted channel of my Blackstar ID20. For anyone that's wondering why I'm not using that big behemoth over there, it's because I'm at home. I realise that having a 412 in a detached house can be a little bit of a problem, so I'm waiting to get an attenuator pedal so I can gun the amp but control the volume, and I hope soon to be able to film some stuff with that. It is an absolute beast with tons and tons of features, and it's going to be great to really sit down and start to tweak my sound with it. So we'll start again in the neck, which is the Path Pro, and here we go, fully distorted. Naturally, you wouldn't expect to be able to chug on the neck pickup, but what I love about that is how much of the grit and attack it still captures. Granted, it's not having anything bleeding in from the bridge pickup, but it is just a naturally hot pickup on its own. And just for some leads in that sort of style. nice and glassy, got all the bite and attack exactly where you'd expect it. Really good for catching those sort of legato-esque grooves, which I really like, you know what I mean? Fast passages are a lot easier to play when you've got your reference points and when you can hear them a lot better. You know what I mean? It really does evolve your playing. Really great for the tapping stuff too. So this is the same pickup again, but with the coil split. Here we go. Sounds like an overdriven Strat, doesn't it? You know what I mean? It's not very clear, but clear enough to sort of pick up a lot of the pick attack. Don't know why I was trying to do the rake technique with it. It's not quite hot enough to do the raking properly. So, this is the leads with the split pickup. Lots of sustain, again quite twangy and great for playing the Strat vibe kind of stuff, which, don't get me wrong, I love the versatility of that with the Seymour Duncan pickups, but with this it's just a lot better. They pick up a lot more and there's a lot more note clarity with them. So this now is the mid split of the two pickups, and here we go. Myself a little there, and that all again falls down to the way that the pickups respond and losing your reference with how things sound. It's great to do ear training like that. You find your way around the fretboard a lot easier. Granted, sometimes I slip up, but I'm only human and we all make mistakes. So this is the lead style comparison with the two pickups. For me. Distorted, obviously you would expect a little bit of bleed coming from the super distortion pickup, and it means that you just lose a little bit too much. Some people may find a use for that, me personally not so much, and that's not a tone I'm likely to try and use anytime soon. To be fair, this guitar has now been purpose built to riff, so I'm very, very likely not to ever be out of the bridge. So this is the bridge pickup, which is the DiMarzio X2N Super Distortion. And here we go. That's just grunty, isn't it? Yeah, there are a couple of slip-ups there. Fresh strings, still getting used to them. But yeah, that has got so much grit for a hot pickup that's passive. And it easily competes with some of the EMGs, and you guys know how fond I am of those pickups. Like, 3 of my guitars have them in various configurations to achieve various sounds. So let's get some leads on the go. it sings in the right spots. Really does help you to bring out the sort of bendy blues that you might try and incorporate into your playing. It just catches everything string. Sustain's great into harmonic feedback too, when you catch it in the right spots on the fretboard. So yeah, I love that pickup. The last position then, guys, is that pickup split. And here we go. Still a riffy beast by all accounts, but a little bit twangier. Obviously responds a bit better to the pick attack. The raking sounds quite good through it. For those that don't know what raking technique is, it's used a lot by Gojira and recently Trivium quite a bit too, where you catch the harmonic and catch it in the same spot with the strings, with the aim to create a sort of slid effect. And to do that at speed as well as riff, it's quite a difficult technique, but one that I've really been working on lately, along with my lead playing and obviously intervallics and learning how to sort of write solos. This has all come from being in the band, and I can't thank my bandmates enough for pushing me. I've always been pushed as a musician, always tried to push to be better, and my band really are pushing me. So, the last thing then, guys, is the leads with the X2N split. So yeah, it still retains a lot of its note definition, still great for doing the slide tapping and really fast flowing runs. And yeah, so that is the Washburn again, guys. Do I prefer it now? Absolutely. It's what I always imagined. I'd love a guitar that looks like this to sound like. It riffs, it shreds. The neck profile is still one of the best. I think it's a modern C profile. And yeah, it's still the best flying V. Don't get me wrong, as I say, that Gibson is phenomenal and well worth the money that I've paid for it and that it is worth. Gibsons are fantastic guitars. Granted, I've never had one. It might not be my last one. And I said for a long time that I wouldn't have a Gibson because I wondered if it was possible to get like the mojo of a Gibson in a lower end guitar. So far, there are very few guitars that have ever made me feel like that, but this is definitely one of them. If you are able and lucky to get one of these online, either second hand or from a clearance deal from your local guitar dealer, I really, really do urge you to give it a go. Again, guys, I just want to give you a big thank you for the 300 subscribers. It really, really honours me, and I wish I could show you how humbled I am by it. You know what I mean? This year has been hell for us all. And in this year alone, I've passed 200 and 300 subscribers. One of my subscribers covered one of my songs. My band are working on unbelievably phenomenal heavy music. So I'm still very, very much a passionate musician, even despite the situation in the world. And I urge anyone who might be losing hope a little bit, don't give up. It's a very, very sad state of affairs. It's a state of affairs that none of us ever thought that we would experience in our lifetimes. My generation, my dad's generation and beyond, it's one of those things you read in a history book and you think, that would never happen. Stick together, band together, and we will get back to normality. There's enough hatred in the world, and it's nice to have a community that I can reach out to. where I can speak with fans and people that have helped me through some of the highlights of my life and some of the lower points in my life. And music is the best way for us all to connect. So if you're a musician just starting, picking it back up during the lockdown, don't give up. I've been playing for 13 years and still I make mistakes. You know what I mean, I struggle sometimes with writer's block, and that's just the pros of being a musician. It's part of the experience, it's part of the journey. And yeah, musicians really do band together in times of need. This is one of those times. From my family to yours, stay safe and protect everyone so that we can get back to some normality. The next poll will be on Instagram as soon as this video goes live, where you have the choice between my two Epiphones, my LTD Viper and my Gibson Flying V. As always, I thank you very much for watching. Take care, stay safe, and I'll see you soon.